The problem isn't that you think too deeply. It's that you think deeply in rooms that reward performance over perception. And the more you try to be understood there, the more alone you feel. Here's the uncomfortable question. What if your loneliness isn't caused by your intelligence, but by how intelligence shifts social power in subtle ways? We'll come back to that. There's a popular narrative online. Society fears intelligent people. It's dramatic, it's validating, it's seductive, but it's incomplete. Society doesn't fear intelligence. People fear losing psychological safety. And intelligence, especially visible, verbalized intelligence, can destabilize that safety faster than almost anything else. Not because you're superior, but because you change the invisible hierarchy in the room. And humans are extremely sensitive to hierarchy. Let's strip this down to biology. Your nervous system has one primary job: protect your position inside the tribe. For most of human history, losing status didn't just hurt your feelings, it reduced mating options, protection, and survival odds. So your brain evolved to constantly scan for who has influence, who has authority, who is admired, who threatens your standing. Now imagine this. You're in a group conversation. The topic is simple, surface level. Everyone feels equal. Then someone introduces nuance. They ask a question no one else considered. They connect ideas across domains. They expose complexity. Even if their tone is calm, the dynamic shifts. Why? Because intelligence doesn't just add information, it redistributes status. And status threat activates the same neural circuits as physical threat. Not metaphorically, literally. The amygdala doesn't distinguish between a raised fist and a raised intellectual standard very well. If someone suddenly feels comparatively less competent, less articulate, or less insightful, their nervous system reacts. Micro-defensiveness, interruptions, dismissal, jokes, topic changes. Not because you attacked them, because you moved the invisible hierarchy. And hierarchy instability creates anxiety. Here's where it gets more uncomfortable. Deep thinkers often believe they're being rejected for being too intelligent. But sometimes they're being resisted because they are unintentionally destabilizing social equilibrium without calibrating for it. There's a difference. Depth without calibration can feel like dominance, even if you don't intend it. And humans respond to dominance displays in predictable ways. Compete, undermine, withdraw, exclude. This is why you may feel welcomed one-on-one, but subtly sidelined in groups. In private, there's no audience, no public comparison, no social scoreboard. In groups, everything becomes comparative, and comparison fuels insecurity. But here's the part almost no one talks about. Deep thinkers often carry their own unconscious hierarchy. They may internally categorize conversations as surface, meaningful, worthwhile, trivial. And even if they don't say it, people feel it. Humans are extraordinarily good at detecting subtle condescension, even silent condescension. So now both sides feel misunderstood. The group feels subtly judged. The thinker feels understimulated and unseen. Both retreat. Isolation forms. Not because intelligence is cursed, but because social systems punish uncalibrated asymmetry. Here's the shift. Your depth is not the problem. Your relationship to being understood might be. Many intelligent adults carry a quiet longing. I just want someone to meet me at this level. But that longing can turn into subtle frustration when it doesn't happen. And frustration leaks. Through tone, through micro-expressions, through impatience with simplicity. Ironically, the more you need others to validate your depth, the more tension you create. Because now your intelligence isn't just perception, it's identity. And identity always seeks confirmation, which makes you vulnerable to feeling rejected. But there's a different posture available, one that doesn't require shrinking and doesn't require superiority either. It requires range. Highly intelligent people who are socially effective share one trait. They control the visibility of their depth, not by hiding it, by modulating it. Think of intelligence like voltage. High voltage can power cities or fry circuits. The difference is regulation. Here's how you regulate without diluting yourself. 1. Match before you move. Before introducing complexity, match the emotional tone and language of the room. Safety first, depth second. 2. Ask instead of assert. Questions lower threat, declarations raise it. Instead of, "That's not quite accurate," try, "I'm curious how you'd think about this angle." Same intelligence, different impact. 3. Separate stimulation from validation. Not every environment exists to intelligently stimulate you. Some exist to bond. Bonding often requires simplicity. 4. Build depth containers. Find or create spaces where complexity is the norm. Small discussion groups, niche communities, long-form conversations, one-on-one intellectual friendships. You don't need mass understanding. You need precise alignment. 5. Develop social intelligence equal to your analytical intelligence. Perception without warmth creates distance. Perception with warmth creates magnetism. And warmth is a skill, not a personality trait. At the beginning, I asked, what if your loneliness isn't caused by your intelligence, but by how intelligence shifts social power in subtle ways? Here's the full answer. Yes, deep thinking can make others uncomfortable, but isolation isn't inevitable. It emerges when depth becomes rigid, when intelligence is expressed without attunement, when perception outruns empathy. The most powerful thinkers in history weren't just deep, they were translators. They understood that truth without timing feels like threat, and threat triggers defense. So maybe the question isn't, why does society reject deep thinkers? Maybe it's, can you be perceptive enough to see the room, not just the idea? Because when depth and calibration coexist, you don't become isolated, you become rare. And rare, when expressed wisely, is not rejected. It's sought after. If you resonate, hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you for watching till the end.